Today I'm reacting to your Monday Night Raw hot takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether those are good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling. So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure that you're following me over on X because I ask for your hot takes after every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and every single WWE Premium Live event. And of course, I will be doing hot takes immediately after WrestlePalooza, so make sure that you're following me over there so that you can share your thoughts. And if you are looking for my full review of this particular episode of Monday Night Raw with footage, it's already up and available over on patreon.com/SantiZap. Over there, we upload the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, and a whole bunch of other videos and series that never get uploaded here to YouTube because they use real footage over there, and here they would just get blocked due to copyright. So go check it out. Link in the description, link in the pinned comment. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's see what you guys sent in. They've nailed the go home segment. Seth and Becky versus Punk and AJ is going to steal the show at WrestlePalooza. The chemistry between all four of them is unreal, and you can feel it every time they interact. I expect Punk and AJ to take the win and punch their ticket to future title shots. So if you only have time to watch one thing from this episode of Monday Night Raw, I implore you to make this the thing that you make time for, because in my opinion, this was far and away the best thing to come out of this episode. And out of all of the matches going into WrestlePalooza, I firmly believe that this is the one that has had the most consistently good build, to the point where I believe that this should main event on a card that has John Cena and Brock Lesnar, a giant marquee match. But this feud has just been so good, so refreshing, that I think it is worthy of closing the show. Like you said, the chemistry between all four of them was impeccable in this segment. We also got to see a little bit of a taste of what the physical chemistry is going to be like. And if that manhandle slam has anything to talk about what their chemistry is going to be like, I think it's going to be pretty damn good. I think they are going to steal the show. So if you're going to have them steal the show, just have them close the show. That's where I'm standing on things. In terms of who should win, I agree. I think CM Punk and AJ Lee should be winning this match, especially if you want to build AJ Lee as this credible contender to Becky Lynch's Women's Intercontinental Championship. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for her to return after 10 years, lose, and then challenge for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. There's not really much justification there. So I really believe that AJ and Punk should win this match. Give Asuka the world title with her new heel run soon. I feel like they found something with Asuka. They continue to try different things and fail, but I think in this situation, they've tried something new with Asuka and they may have hit pay dirt, because I am invested in this new iteration of Asuka. Not only am I invested in Asuka herself, but I'm invested in how she's impacting the characters around her, like Io Sky, like Kairi Sane, and some of the baby faces that she's been interacting with, like in this episode, Stephanie Vaquette, and her little ongoing feud with Rhea Ripley. I think that Asuka would be a great foil for any babyface that you're trying to put over. She's a known commodity, but she's a known commodity that in 2025 has found a new way to continue to stay afloat and continue to stay relevant in a main event run. So you know what? I'll co-sign this. I like it. I'm down for Asuka to get one more run as this like jealous, savage, abusive boyfriend character that she's playing. It's time for Penta to call for some backup and get his brother on Monday Night Raw. When this happens, I feel like it's going to be the first big step they are going to take to fix the tag team division and to get the titles on a team that will actually defend them and not be accessories. Okay, so now that news is broken out that Andrade, for all intents and purposes, has been fired by the WWE, that leaves Rey Fenix with basically nothing to do on Friday Night SmackDown. So the best thing to do for Penta, for the tag team division, for Rey Fenix, and just for Monday Night Raw in general, is to move Rey Fenix to Monday Night Raw and reunite the Lucha Brothers so that they can have amazing matches with the likes of the New Day and melt our eyeballs. If you have not had a chance to watch the Lucha Brothers in their time in the Indies or in AEW, I really highly encourage you to pause this video and go to YouTube. You're already on YouTube, and just search up a Lucha Brothers match and you will be thoroughly entertained. And yes, it's time. It makes sense. The storyline is there. There is no Andrade to make things awkward. You have to pull the trigger now. Otherwise, I feel like you're going to continue to dangle this carrot to the point where people are going to stop caring, just like you did with Austin Theory. Sometimes you don't need long-term storytelling is basically what I'm trying to say. Sometimes just pull the trigger on the damn thing that makes sense. Now, the one, I think, barrier that you have here of Rey Fenix rejoining Penta is that at Worlds Collide, Penta basically called a shot at the Mega Campeonato. So I would have assumed that he would have been going after Dominic Mysterio sometime soon. But I don't know. Maybe that was just to hype up the crowd at Worlds Collide and was not a particularly telling promo of what's actually going to happen here soon down the line. Because when I look at soon down the line, what makes more sense is not Penta going after Dominic Mysterio and the AAA Mega Campeonato. It's to reunite with Rey Fenix and give us the best tag team in all of WWE. Will this save the Raw tag team division? Inherently, no. You need more than just an awesome tag team being added to it. You need an awesome tag team that gets used as a tag team feuding with other tag teams. And the fact that Penta's already feuding with the New Day already helps that out. WWE Survivor Series is closing in quickly, and I'm sure that you've already heard and expected that ticket prices are gonna get rather steep. I plan on going to the show this year, but between flights and accommodations, it's gonna get quite expensive, so I'm trying to cut down on costs by getting the most affordable show tickets possible. And I'll be doing that thanks to today's video sponsor, SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app, and for a very good reason. There are more than 70,000 events already listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sporting events, festivals, and more. And with SeatGeek, you can be sure that you're going to be getting the absolute best price for whatever seat that you want at whatever show you plan to attend. Every single WWE Premium Live event, as well as episodes of Raw, SmackDown, and WWE live show tickets are all available on SeatGeek as well. So make sure that you stop by there first before you buy your tickets so that you can make sure that you are getting the best possible price. Because SeatGeek actually shows you if you're getting a good deal or not on whatever ticket it is that you're browsing. So you're gonna wanna look for the tickets that have green dots, because green dots means good and red dots means a bad deal. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee as well, so you can buy without any sort of concerns. And you guys know that I came through for you, because you can use code SANTI10 for 10% off your next set of tickets over at SeatGeek. Again, that's 10% off any tickets with promo code SANTI10. So make sure that you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so that you can use it later. Thank you again to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. Now let's get you back to the wrestling that you came for. I know this time of year is always bad for WWE, but this year in particular, it really feels like WWE Creative has ran out of juice. Both Raw and SmackDown feel lackluster apart from one or two standout stories. It's repetitive and stale. Okay, so I'm willing to forgive Friday Night SmackDown because they haven't had their champion post SummerSlam, really. And when you don't have your champion there, which means you don't have one of your biggest names in your brand, then you're bound to have lackluster shows. But now that Cody Rhodes is back, now it'll be easier to judge what kind of storytelling SmackDown is going to deliver fans. Monday Night Raw, on the other hand, this thing has been an absolute travesty, especially the main event scene. I swear to God, you can copy and paste the last 5 main events, put them side by side, and I wouldn't be able to tell you which main event is which, because it's the same thing, just a different plate that they serve it on every week. I know, like you, that this is the time of year where WWE seems to just sort of throw their hands up and phone it in when it comes to creative storytelling. But out of the last 3 years that WWE has consistently done this lackluster booking, and like post SummerSlam going into War Games, this year feels especially bad. Like Raw, the main event especially, is struggling mightily. I've got a feeling that this could be the match for Crown Jewel Australia. You know what? I'm kind of feeling this vibe because Io Sky's story right now with what's going on with the Kabuki Warriors and Rhea Ripley doesn't really require her to have the title in order to be able to tell said story. If you give Io the title, it doesn't really change much in terms of the dynamics that Io Sky is currently facing with Asuka. So I think that the best call here is to actually give the title to Stephanie Vaquer because she is a blank slate. You can start new things from scratch like this and have it make sense without a heck of a whole lot of backstory leading into it. Plus, we've seen Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky enough times, not that I'm upset about seeing it again, but Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vaquer in itself is a dream match that's right there, right for the taking, and in a perfect venue in the backyard of Rhea Ripley and Burt. So now that you've put this in front of me, yeah, this is the damn match I want, and if I don't get this now, I'm going to be an upset mark from the IWC. As much as I like the El Grande Americano character, I'm not going to lie, it's sad to see so many talented wrestlers are doing this gimmick, and I don't know where this story is going. I mean, what's the end goal? That is actually a really good question. I don't know what the end goal is with the El Grande Americanos. I don't even know where the end goal is going to be paid off. Is the end goal to pay this off on the main roster, or is the main goal to pay this off in AAA? Because the El Grande Americano shtick is happening on both universes. My guess is that the big payoff here is for the alleged Chad Gable El Grande Americano to come back to confront the alleged Ludwig Kaiser El Grande Americano, and that we're probably going to get American Made being led by Chad Gable as El Grande Americano taking on the El Grande Americano stable that's just formed. But like, if that's it, that's kind of underwhelming. It's not a particularly juicy storyline to look forward to. And yes, there are a lot of talented names that you're picturing here, but you have to remember when it comes to Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne, and Ludwig Kaiser, before the El Grande Americano gimmick even appeared, they were literally doing nothing, and it looked like they were destined to be released. So if it means putting a goofy mask on them and making them speak broken Spanish just to make sure that we can see them be awesome wrestlers, I'm down to do that. Is it a price to pay? Sure, but I think it's a price worth paying at this point. They need to desperately stop repeating the same main event every week. I'm gonna crash out. It takes away my interest from the main event, and it's obvious who wins. So within the last 8 minutes of the main event, I literally told my stream exactly what was going to happen. I said BMB Security's gonna win. They're gonna attack the baby faces. Jey Uso's gonna come out. He's gonna save the baby faces, and then LA Knight's gonna hit his finisher on Jey Uso to give him payback for last week. And literally, like clockwork, that is exactly what happened. That's not because I'm some savant. It's not because I stole the script. It's because it's predictable and so telegraphed as hell. And yeah, man, it is very frustrating to continuously see the same main event play out with slight variations as to who's playing what role that week, who's making the save, who's getting saved. That's the only thing that changes. Don't get me wrong, at least they're advancing some story plots, but it feels like they're moving things at a freaking snail's pace. They're moving along the development of Jey Uso as a potential next tribal chief. They're moving the development of the feud between LA Knight and Jey Uso, but at the end of the day, we all know that this is just gonna coalesce in a match between Jey and LA Knight. They're probably gonna put their differences aside and team up at War Games with the rest of the babyfaces to take on the Vision. It just feels like we're spinning our wheels with the Raw main event. It's really frustrating, and it is getting boring. I was yawning through the majority of this main event, and I was having a tough time taking my eyes away from Monday Night Football to enjoy this main event because there wasn't much to enjoy. I have a feeling Triple H loves factions because it gets people on TV easily, and it's an easy way to fill main events with different variations of babyfaces going against them in tag matches. You are right, it is a crutch that Triple H tends to use quite heavily because it is an easy way to get multiple faces on TV. It's even happening in divisions where you wouldn't really expect it so much. Like, for example, the women's mid-card on Friday Night SmackDown, we're probably going to have a faction of Kiana James clients, and that'll be an excuse to get some women that barely get any TV time some extra TV time. You've got the Secret Hervis over there getting 3 women on TV in one fell swoop. And of course, over on Monday Night Raw, you've got the Americanos running around. You've got the New Day running around. You've got the Vision and Judgment Day, of course. Now, for the most part, I feel like he does execute pretty well with factions, but it is starting to become a little bit tiresome, especially when you continue to use more or less the same variations of individuals in tag team matches over and over again. I know Cena versus Brock is going down this Saturday, but they should have ran Dom versus Cena tonight for the IC title. I'm pulling for straws, but give me anything over the Vision main eventing with the same collection of talent for the 100th time. I obviously would have loved this. I'm still hanging on to the hope that we might get a proper Dominic Mysterio versus John Cena match. I wouldn't hate Dominic Mysterio being John Cena's final match either. But in this appearance, I don't feel like John Cena cut an impactful enough promo to warrant that being one of the dates, because we're down to the last handful now, and this did kind of feel like a waste of a John Cena date, unfortunately. And funnily enough, they did have a ready-made storyline right there to give John Cena a match and to help us alleviate from the same friggin' main event over and over again, because LA Knight needed a partner, and that partner could have easily ended up being John Cena, so that we could have gotten LA Knight and John Cena versus The Vision. And honestly, that would have been great. I really don't know how to feel about Dragon Lee. I don't like him. I don't dislike him. He's just kind of there. If they want us to think that he's the next Rey Mysterio, they need to start building him as such. So what you said is the worst thing you could say about a professional wrestler. You don't like them. You don't dislike them. You essentially don't care. And that is basically a death sentence for a professional wrestler. They need to elicit a reaction out of you. And if you can't get a good or a bad one, that's not good. And here's the thing. I love that they've been featuring Dragon Lee over the last handful of weeks, and he's delivering fantastic matches. There is no doubt in anyone's mind that Dragon Lee is borderline a generational talent when it comes to his in-ring, but he just has no charisma. He just doesn't have an ability to connect with the crowd, and that to me is where the problem lies with Dragon Lee, because he's so damn good in the ring, but I just don't care. I don't think that he is the future of Lucha Libre. He is not the next Rey Mysterio. They can continue to bill him as such, but until he is able to connect with the crowd, it's not going to happen. I'd give you a hot take, but I had a black screen the whole show. Yeah, Netflix was bugging out for a lot of people. I heard that a ton of people had a black screen, but were able to hear the whole show, but couldn't actually see it. I had just a loading screen for the first like 8 minutes, so I almost missed the entirety of the opening segment with John Cena. So Netflix, come on, man, let's get our shit together here. Once Jey Uso versus LA Knight happens, likely at Crown Jewel, Jimmy Uso will have to make a choice, family or friend. Either way, I believe that this feud with Jey versus LA has been great, and I'm very interested in how all of this will pay off. If you actually want to pay this off, you need to turn one of them heel. What I'm thinking they're going to end up doing is that this is just going to be a one-off feud between two baby faces that dislike each other, that eventually put their differences aside to fight off the Vision. That's where I think things are going to go. But again, if you really want to pay this off, if you really want to make sure that fans' time and attention gets respected, one of them needs to turn heel. And if I'm picking between the two, I'm not saying that Jey Uso can't be a good heel, because he has absolutely proven to be a good one in the early 2020s and in the late 2010s as part of the Uso Penitentiary. But right now, the one that I feel WWE can get the most juice out of is LA Knight as a heel. It's almost as if LA Knight has hit the ceiling as to where he's going to go as a babyface, that I'm at the point where I'm down to experiment with something new with LA Knight. It's been a long time since we've seen him as a heel, so I'm down at this point. But I don't think that that's going to end up being the case. I think it's just going to be the baby faces coming together and fighting the Vision at War Games. Oh, how soon this is going to be a reality. Roman putting the Ula Fala on Jey, Jey becoming the tribal chief, absolute cinema. They need to pay something off with Roman Reigns, and I don't know what that something is. It could be Roman trying to anoint Jey Uso as the tribal chief, and Jey Uso just straight up becomes the tribal chief, or maybe Jey Uso turns it down. But you can't ignore the Roman Reigns aspect of this story. Hell, you can't ignore the fact that he was taken out by the people that Jey Uso is currently feuding with, so I wouldn't be surprised if sometime soon, I'm not expecting WrestlePalooza, for Roman Reigns to return to align himself with Jey Uso, and maybe turning Jey Uso even more like the tribal chief. I won't lie, I have a hard time visualizing Jey Uso as the tribal chief, but like I said, I don't think it's an impossibility. AJ Lee sold that manhandle slam better than the majority of the women, and she's been gone for 10 years. This to me is a positive sign for her wrestling and chemistry with Becky Lynch come Saturday. I'm so glad that that manhandle slam looked as good as it did, because if it looked bad, if it was bots, oh my God, the amount of like negative rhetoric that there would be online about AJ Lee's return would be deafening. If anything, this served as a reminder of how good of a seller AJ Lee was, because that was the one thing where she stood head and shoulders above everyone in the Divas era. She could sell the absolute living hell out of anybody. Just watch her get speared by Caitlyn back in the day, and you'd think that she got run over by a semi-truck. AJ Lee is just really good at like doing ragdoll physics and getting turned inside out, upside down. She is just a great person at selling and making moves look deadly. Holy, I'm starting to lose my voice. Let's try and get to the end of this video. Having Bronson Reed win with the pin 2 weeks in a row is a great decision. Given his previous PLEs, these were much needed. Okay, sure, but at some point he needs to win at a PLE, right? Because it's just sort of becoming the Bronson Reed getting pinned at PLE show at this point. I don't disagree that these are pins that help Bronson Reed, but they're coming in lifeless main events that are going to be forgotten as soon as they end. He needs to pick up a pin victory in a PLE so that we know that he's an actual credible threat to the main event. These potential matches. This picture just highlights how much better the women's division is on Monday Night Raw. Friday Night SmackDown just has to continue to recycle Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, and Nia Jax. Meanwhile, Monday Night Raw is elevating the likes of Asuka back into the main event scene. We still have Liv Morgan to come back into the equation. We still have Becky Lynch to get added back into the equation. We have a Bayley that's reinvigorated, that's evolving, that's becoming this new fresh character. We have a Lyra Valkyria cooking in the mid card. Like, dude, it's night and day in terms of the quality of the women's card across both shows. Kairi Sane had a fantastic night. Great match with Stephanie, and she continues to shine in the backstage segments. She could end up being the one who benefits the most from this storyline. It's not just Asuka that's kind of getting a second life and a second win here. It also is Kairi Sane. However, I would say that Asuka is getting significantly more development and benefiting a lot more from this current storyline. But I just know one of the big moments in this storyline is going to be Kairi Sane stepping up to Asuka, and that moment is going to be cinema. Rusev should win the Intercontinental title. I have a feeling that he's going to be getting over with the crowd in the next few months. I'm already over with Rusev. I'm so down to see this. I am absolutely here for Rusev Day. Dominic Mysterio doesn't need the Intercontinental Championship anymore. He's got the Mega Campeonato to continue to prop him up as the next future generational star of the WWE's main event scene. Meanwhile, giving the Intercontinental Championship to Rusev opens us up to interesting matchups like Rusev versus Ilya Dragunov that's being heavily hinted. So I am so game for that. I'm riding off the high that this feud is giving me. Give me more. I've been waiting for one of these guys to go heel, and I'm so glad it was LA Knight. His heel mic skills are going to bury people alive. I don't think that was a heel turn. I don't think it was a heel turn at all. I think it was just him getting his back on Jey Uso. When Jey Uso and LA Knight feud, I think it's just going to be babyface versus babyface, and Jimmy Uso is going to be caught in the middle. Just like it wasn't a heel turn when Jey attacked LA Knight, I don't think it's a heel turn when LA Knight attacks Jey Uso. But I do think that the long-term play here could be LA Knight being the one to turn heel, and when he does turn heel, it is going to be mighty refreshing. WWE may have ruined the generational heel run of the New Day, but the New Day ain't giving up entertaining the fans. They are making iconic segments here with the small time that they are getting, and that is great. The whole morning New Day thing has gone on for so long that it's actually hilarious. It's one of those jokes where the punchline keeps going and going and going, where the punchline was funny at first, but then it went too far and it's now no longer funny, but it goes on long enough where it continues to now be funny again. That's where we're at with the morning New Day. I am digging everything that they're doing. Now, it'll be significantly better if we can actually pay off one of these storylines that the New Day is a part of, and they have one right here that I really hope that they don't fumble, which is the return of Penta and Phoenix reuniting the Lucha Brothers and feuding with what would be a generational feud with the New Day. Can we talk about this graphic, please? It's absolutely beautiful. It's the details that make this feud even better. Details like this, demonstrating that AJ Lee and CM Punk are a cohesive unit, having them come out to one entrance theme, having them both wear the same AJ Lee merch demonstrates that they are a cohesive unit. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch came out separate, came out to different graphics, came out to different entrance themes, and are trying to outstyle each other and just are not that cohesive unit that AJ and CM Punk are. So it's those tiny little details that make this feud just even better than it already is. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought that Springfield was somewhere in Europe, easily a top 5 US crowd. Hey, if you were in the crowd in Springfield, take a bow. I think that you were the best American crowd that we've had all year. You guys were fantastic. You guys were loud. You guys were creative with your chants. You added to matches. You added to segments. Everything about the crowd this episode of Monday Night Raw was magnifique. The Raw Tag Team division is still a complete joke. The Judgment Day are having an even worse run than they did last year. The New Day are in an endless cycle with Penta, and the rest of the division is non-existent. A draft is heavily needed in all parts of WWE currently. I absolutely agree with you when it comes to the Tag Team division. It is basically dead. I forgot that the Judgment Day were holding the titles. I barely even see them holding the titles, for God's sake. At this point, JD McDonough and Finn Balor are more busy having internal conflict within the Judgment Day and singles feuds than they actually are, developing and having matches within the tag team division. I can't believe that I'm agreeing with this. I also agree that this is somehow a worse reign than they had last year, because last year's reign was genuinely the worst tag team reign that I've ever seen, and I think we're witnessing a worse one somehow. There is some life here, but it is with the potential of Rey Fenix joining Penta on Monday Night Raw, but that's just sort of a wishful thinking because that hasn't even happened or really gotten rolling yet. In terms of a draft, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that they're going to just do, hey, Jimmy Uso's now on Raw, LA Knight's now on Raw, Sami Zayn's now on SmackDown. I don't think that they're going to be doing proper drafts. They're just going to move people whenever they need to and whenever they want. All right, folks, my voice is shot. I recorded this after Monday Night Football, after my stream, and it's late, so I'm tired. I'm going to end it here. Goodbye. I'm done. Get out of here.